WTF Nation Radio.
Stand up for the things I believe in, but I don't always do what's right. I'm the only hell my mama ever raised, but hell my mama tried. I am the last of a dying breed. There ain't many souls left like me. I'm a man of my word, that's a guarantee. I'm the last of a dying breed. I don't need much for me to get by. I don't fit in with the suit and the tie. You won't see me sitting high on a throne, so please tell the wolves that I'm finally home. I am the last of a dying breed. There ain't many souls left like me. I'm a man of my word, that's a guarantee. I'm the last of a dying breed. I'm a God-fearing man, I ain't afraid of my fate. I'm a lot like Drake, born 50 years too late. Of a dying breed, there ain't many souls left like me. I'm a man of my word, that's a guarantee. I'm the last of a dying breed. I am the last of a dying breed. There ain't many souls left like me. I'm a man of my word, that's a guarantee. I'm the last of a dying breed.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
The horse, with beauty unsurpassed, strength immeasurable, and grace unlike any other, still remains humble enough to carry a man upon its back. When a service member or first responder takes an oath, he or she has mentally and physically committed themselves with self-sacrifice. From the front lines abroad to the very streets you live on in America, they protect. This oath is non-refundable and it is lifelong. Facing unimaginable dangers and unseen scars, these grounds are a place to recover and face any challenges head-on. As veterans and first responders ourselves, we know that battle all too well. From a simple talk with a friend on horseback to an entire debrief in the barn, this sanctuary has seen recovery take place time and time again. No hour of life is wasted that is spent in a saddle. The way we approach change isn't a new phenomenon. This animal has been with humans over 5,000 years. If you've ever been around a horse for long enough, you'll feel that thing, that electric trust. In that moment, nothing else is in your mind. When they turn into you, it's like the world disappears. We harness that moment to build skills off of. Repurposing requires flexibility, adaptability, and the willingness to challenge assumptions and conventional thinking. This approach can be applied to many areas in life, including business, education, and personal growth. To ride a horse is to fly without wings. This lesson and skills learned at War Horses will help reintegrate back into daily life. You'll learn coping mechanisms, improved communication skills, trust and confidence. that will help reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. These tools can be used every day to navigate life and take on many challenges. This may involve practicing mindfulness, setting boundaries, improving communication with loved ones. Transitioning back to society is hard on your own. And when you're at war horses, your family, and families solve problems together.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
I can feel this in my ears. What is happening?
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
What's going on, everybody? Time to kick off Friday Night Freedom here on the 15th day of September 2023. It's me, Kaz, and right there's Pookie, but he's kind of like a static image right now, just because he's not going to be with us tonight. He's out doing things and stuff, and he'll be back. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. Everything's fine. He's just taking a little bit of time off, and all's good, man. All's good. Thank you all for joining, man. I got nobody here with me, so this is pretty cool, man. This is a solo show. I'm not really keen on doing solo shows. I really like people to bounce off of, but I think we'll get there. I think we'll get there tonight. So how's it going? I can't talk to Pookie. This is, what do I do with my hands? That's okay. So 101 days till Christmas. There's news for you. It's been pretty great here. For the first time since like March or maybe early April, we've had our first rain here in Texas. So I'm in the north central part of Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth the Metroplex, and it's pretty damn exciting, man. When it rained, everybody was kind of. And the first rain actually came a couple of weeks ago. Everyone was kind of standing out on the porch and looking at the sky like a bunch of dumbasses, watching the rain come down. But we've had a pretty steady. It's not like Seattle type rain where it rains every day and you kind of get bored of it raining every day. It's kind of the exact opposite. It was so sunny and hot without rain for such a long time. So it's been really damn dry. But we've got some measurable amounts of rain, which is pretty cool. It's also not 110 degrees outside with 75% humidity, so that's a plus as well. It's good that the temps are falling. Not only it's just because of our comfort. Before let me just do this first on the front end of everything. We got a show 6 nights a week. On Sunday's a sports bar. Monday's the Monday edition. Pop Culture Warrior comes in on Tuesday. Wednesday's a Smoke Pit. Thursday is Sarge Time. And every other Friday, we are here for Friday Night Freedom. So now that that's over with, had to get that out of the way. Anyway, it is really good that the temperatures are decreasing, because that makes the State Fair of Texas a lot more pleasurable and a lot less swamp-assy to go to. It would be absolutely just bad for everybody if you had to go to the State Fair of Texas. It's just a big-ass fair. It's an awesome fair. I've been there one time. I'll probably never go again because Dallas sucks for traffic. And I have very little patience for traffic. So I choose not to. I'll just read all of the cool things that happen there. I got a friend of mine who's an artist. He does steel art, like welding and like shaping and stuff. And I'll read in the news about all of his cool stuff. And he gets, every time he'll make a sculpture for the in the entryway right before Big Tex. There's a big steel sculpture, and he usually does those because he has a chosen preferred placement or whatever. But then somebody will go to that fair and they'll offer him like gajillions of dollars, not gajillions. They'll give him like, they'll offer him $10 or $20 or $30,000 for one of his sculptures, which is pretty awesome because he puts a lot of love and effort into it all year long, and he makes it work every year. So that's kind of pretty cool. So the State Fair of Texas is held at Fair Park in Dallas. So if you don't know Fair Park in Dallas, it's kind of a little bit east of Dallas. The Cotton Bowl is there. Cotton Bowl is an outdoor football venue. It was built in 1930. And it's not used for big games. Well, it's used for big games, and that's about it. It's not used a lot. I mean, high schools play there, like their championship games, they play up there. They also play them at American Airlines Stadium. But it's just, it's old, man. It's been there since 1930. And it's just it's a big icon. It's an icon of Dallas. So, but the State Fair of Texas is not too much different than any other state fair that you go to, except this is Texas and everything's kind of bigger in Texas. So there's a picture of the Dallas skyline, looking from east to west into Dallas. So you'll see Fair Park, which is where the fair is set up in, with the Cotton Bowl off to the right. Right beyond that big Ferris wheel that you see is Deep Ellum. If you've ever been to Dallas, you'd know where these things are. Deep Ellum is the big entertainment district. He says I should call up Owl. I don't even. It's been a while. I need to send him a shout out. I know he's just being he's being Owl out on the West Coast doing the retired man thing. He's probably doing a lot of camping, a lot of RVing and whatnot. But as far as back to the State Fair of Texas, it's not unlike many other state fairs. The thing that kind of makes it stand out is its size and the food. The food there, there's just like, it's not a lottery. It's kind of a competition. If you're a food vendor or if you're a chef or whatever, you kind of have to apply to sell food at the State Fair of Texas. And every year it's kind of something different. There's some mainstays there, like the barbecue stuff is a mainstay, but they've got interesting little snack wagons around. This year, something new. These are called, okay, does everyone know what a churro is? Churro is kind of like, deep fried stuff with cinnamon sugar on it. It's delicious. It's awesome. This year they're having it's a delicacy. It's food. And it's probably mostly sugar, and it's almost always deep fried. But anyway, these are called Cheerios. So the mini churros, deep fried, and I say Cheerios like it's like Oreo churros. Mini churros deep fried to golden perfection and tossed in cinnamon sugar, and then we take it up a notch with a drizzle of chocolate syrup and cream cheese icing. Finally, to top it all off, crushed Oreos are added to the perfect finisher. Now that could, I could do some damage on some churros. Cheerios. I love churros, but man, Cheerios, hell yeah. Cornbread sausage bombs. Now that sounds delicious. Pecan smoked Texas sausage slices are topped with a heaping portion of pimento cheese and a slice of jalapeno, then dipped into a fluffy cornbread batter. The savory treats are fried golden brown and served with jalapeno ranch dipping sauce. That sounds delicious. Chase that down with a nice cold beer. How about that? Okay, for the not deep fried thing, this one looks kind of cool. I'll bet you Spanky could put a couple of these away. Maybe TZ could do this with her. It's called a cotton candarita. Starting with a cotton candy pink sugar rimmed cup with a perfect amount of ice. A cotton candy infused margarita is then added and topped off with a dollop of fresh cotton candy. It's a whole bunch of sugar. That's a whole bunch of sugar, man. But I'll bet it tastes good. It'll offset the bitterness of the margarita. That sounds kind of awesome. Here we go with I'm not sure how they do this. It's called the deep fried birria bomb. So birria is a meat stew, so I kind of wonder how they're going to pull this off. So according to the State Fair website, birria bombs are stuffed with birria, Oaxaca cheese, and home-style mashed potatoes, and then they're rolled into a ball. And then they're dipped in a special batter, and they're deep fried until they reach, of course, a golden brown. Lastly, they are topped with fire-roasted poblano ranch dressing and fresh cilantro. Alex, no shit, dude. That's a dentist's dream. Like the next food truck, like right next to the Cotton Candarita, is the Colgate, deep fried Colgate, with a complimentary toothbrush. But that birria bomb looks pretty damn good. This is the State Fair of Texas, Alex. I was just saying that it's not unlike most other fairs. It's just it's different because it's big on food. Big, super big on food. And for the next one, it's a deep fried Vietnamese coffee. This kind of piqued my interest. Meticulously slow brewed coffee infused cake. The cake is then rolled into a ball, and it's battered and it's deep fried. And to finish it off, it's dusted with powdered sugar, and it's served with velvety condensed milk to dip it in. Oh my gosh, I would eat a ton of those things. And here's an interesting one: the fried fireball shot. Basically, it's a deep. There was a huge write-up on this, and I broke it down Barney style, and it's basically a deep fried piece of angel food cake with fireball poured on top of it, and it kind of sounds cool. So, and these aren't all, man. There's probably hundreds of food vendors inside Fair Park, and you can get anything you want. They had the time that I went, I had a deep fried lobster roll, and that was $18, and it was one of the most glorious things I've ever had in my life. It was very good. See, another attraction this year, I guess, is Big Tex. Big Tex always starts. He's at the front. He's at the entranceway of Fair Park, welcoming everybody. And there's hello, howdy, everybody. It's just huge. One of the big things a couple of years ago, that dude caught on fire. He had some kind of a mechanical failure inside of him, and he caught on fire. The guy's really massive. Anyway, this year, Big Tex is sporting a new pair of boots. So that's the big thing for Big Tex this year. So I didn't have this. Should have had this off when I was talking about the food and stuff. Texas is the only state where you can dump chili into a bag of Fritos and call it pie. Hell yeah. I don't know if that got invented here, but, we've had, when my kids did fundraisers when they're in high school, they had like walking tacos and stuff. So you get like a bag of Doritos, you split it open, and you fill it with like, taco meat and whatnot. Yeah, it was kind of like a Burning Man, Texas style a couple of years ago. I forget when that was. That wasn't too long ago. It might have been last year or the year before. It was within the last 5 years. So everybody here, you guys got good state fairs where you're from? I think the best one I've been is Texas. Ohio State Fair is really good. Wisconsin wasn't so bad, but they're all kind of the same. They got rides, they got music, they got the arts and crafts stuff. They got artists, the local artists, all trying to sell their stuff. I imagine it's pretty much the same everywhere. I'm just kind of particular to Texas because that's where I live. So everything for me is all Texas, man. Yes, including the Cowboys. I don't care how bad they're doing, and the Rangers. I don't care how bad or good they're doing. I'm always going to be a Rangers fan. I'm always going to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. Man, the wheels kind of fell off on the Rangers, didn't they? Usually, if the Rangers have a good year, the Texas Rangers baseball team have a good year, the wheels usually fall off right after the All-Star break. But this year they kept on going. They came back from the All-Star break and they just kept on winning games. And then all the injuries kind of stacked up, and all the key player, all the clutch players were kind of falling out, and they were losing games. They're losing games a lot. They kind of they took Toronto to the fucking woodshed, though. But I don't know. I think they might have a wild card chance, but they're going to have to earn it, man. If they want to stay in the game, they're going to have to earn it. Dallas, everyone, Dallas fucking cleaned the Giants' clock last week. And then just you get all these smart ass, these diehard, just the 40-0, we're going to the Super Bowl, dude. You're one game into the season. Slow your roll, brother. That's just everyone. I mean, you don't count the Jets out because they lost Rodgers. Don't count the Giants out because they got their shit kicked out of them. I mean, this is the beginning of the year. Give it about 3 games, 4 games, and you'll be able to actually set a trend for, who's looking good and who's not looking good. So we got, let me see, I don't need to turn this into the sports bar, because if you want to turn this into the sports bar, you're going to have to be here on Sundays. Yeah, I think Rodgers is done for this season at least. I think it would be a good idea if he retired. Not that I think Rodgers is a fantastic quarterback. You see, Cowboys, give it. You're going to have to give it. For most teams, I would say give it 3 or 4 just to kind of set the pace for the season. Dallas, and this is I'm saying this without looking at any of the schedules. Dallas, dude, you're going to have to give it 5 or 6 games to actually set the pace for the season, just because they're so unpredictable. And there's a lot of shit talking. There's a lot of hype. I think all the teams do this, but I see it all the time. Dak Prescott this, Dak Prescott that. I'm sure the Patriots, who inherited Ezekiel Elliott, who fumbled. I don't even know if he had positive yardage last week. He went to the Patriots. So there's, everyone's gonna find their way. All the teams are gonna kind of fall into place at about probably 2 or 3 games into the season. Go Browns. Heath is a Browns fan. I used to live in Cleveland when they were the Cardiac Kids, if that gives you any indication of how freaking old I am. I don't know how the Browns are going to fare this year. I don't know who they have. I'm so out of touch with football, knowing who the players are and stuff, man. We got the $275 million man over in Cincinnati. What did that break down to? $55 million a season? That's pretty great. They said that Colin Kaepernick, and I've seen the memes, dude. Colin Kaepernick, as soon as as soon as Rodgers got hurt, it's almost like the next day, it's like Colin Kaepernick is like, he's throwing his hat in the ring. You know what? That might not be a bad. You could probably get Colin Kaepernick for cheap and give him a 1-year contract just this season, and with an option to renew. If he shows up and if he plays well, all right. The dude's a liability just because of his theatrics, but if you can get a quarterback for cheap, it might make sense going to Wish.com and getting Colin Kaepernick. I'm just saying. So we got a special veteran here up in the North Texas area. I don't know if I don't know. I haven't tuned into any shows, and I feel really bad about that. I've been super busy at work and super busy with the house, with my foundation issues and whatnot. But I don't know if I talked about this last night, and he probably, if any of the shows would have talked about her, it would have been Ice. But on the offhand chance that he didn't talk about it, I'm going to talk about it. So we've got a lovely veteran, World War II veteran from North Texas, is hoping others will help her celebrate her 100th birthday. She is a resident of the Clyde W. Cosper Texas State Veterans Home in Bonham, Texas, located just about 70 miles northeast-ish of Dallas. Ethelyn Bell, her only wish for her 100th birthday is 100 birthday cards. She joined the military at the age of 21 in 1945, and she served as an Army nurse in Japan during World War II. After the military, she worked as a school nurse in McKinney. Her birthday celebration is on October 4th, so I would like to see if we could, if we could get her 100 birthday cards just from the WTF Nation. So there's her address. I'm going to post it again at the end of the show. Ethelyn Bell, Clyde W. Cosper, Texas State Veterans Home, 13007 Oaks Road, Bonham, Texas, 75418. I'm going to buy Ethelyn a birthday card in the morning because tomorrow I'm going to do my grocery shopping. Maybe get her like a WTF Nation sticker she can throw up in the Clyde W. Cosper, Texas State Veterans Home. That would be kind of neat. We need a U.S. Army WTF Moments sticker up there, right? So you guys ever play the lottery and, you play it, you really don't expect to win, but then the jackpot is so high, you're like, oh yeah, today's the drawing. I got this office pool or this, everybody on the shop floor, everyone kind of chipped in, $10. So we're going to, if I ever won the lottery, and you've got this inside your head, you've got this, this thought that, if I had, $500 million, whatever, I'm going to spend it on this. I'm going to pay off my house. My parents' house is going to be paid off. My kids' educations are going to be paid off, and this, that. And you just, you fantasize about what you're going to do with the money. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, you got a plan, right? And we all know that there's a greater chance, you're going to get struck by lightning than win the lottery. I hope everybody knows that. You're not going to win the lottery, but it's good to hope. You can't play if you don't win, all this other stuff. So 10 years ago, Chris Reynolds, this is an old story, but it's a good story. Bear with me. 10 years ago, Chris Reynolds opened up his PayPal account to find that $92 quadrillion had been mistakenly deposited into his account. This meant that for a very brief moment in time, he was the only person in the entire world who could ever claim to be or have been a quadrillionaire. So prior to this bizarre turn of fortune, Reynolds said that the most money that he had ever had in his PayPal account was maybe a little over $1,000 because he raised it from, buying and selling tires on eBay. When the staff at PayPal realized what had happened, they fixed the issue and they apologized profusely to Reynolds for the entire mishap. I think the money was in his account for like a couple of minutes. So in a statement, the company said, this is, quote, this is obviously an error, and we appreciate that Mr. Reynolds understood that this was the case. What would you do, dude? You're going to check your balance, and it's like, what? Like quickly transferred over into your savings account or something? I don't know. Imagine the size of the turd that PayPal, whoever deposited that money, if it was PayPal, what the hell is PayPal doing with $92 trillion? And I'm thinking this on the fly, dude. How do they have I know these are numbers, and this is all, software and computerized and stuff, but how do they have the wherewithal to deposit $92 trillion into a person's account? That might be a tinfoil hat conversation. So when asked how he would spend the money, Mr. Reynolds said that he would have, this is a quote, he said he would have used it to pay down the national debt. And if he could get a good price, he was going to buy the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, I'm not sure how much the Philadelphia Phillies cost. So I looked up. Back in 2013, well, let's talk about now. Right now, as we're sitting here, chilling out here on Friday Night Freedom, right now the national debt is just under $33 trillion. Back in 2013, when this story was written, and when this event happened, the national debt was just under $17 trillion, meaning that the national debt has doubled over the past 10 years. Isn't that awesome? All these politicians are like, nah, we're going to pay down the national debt. But no, over the last 10 years, that shit's doubled, bro. Of course, it doesn't help that kind of had a pandemic happen. I don't know how we were doing. What I should have done is looked it up in 2019, see how things were doing. But yeah, it doesn't change the fact that it's doubled over the last 10 years. So as far as the Phillies go, they're having a winning season. They're in second place in the NL East, but they are 17 games out of first place. And the regular season, I think, is coming to a close in a couple of weeks. The franchise value of the Phillies right now, as we speak, is $2.58 billion for the franchise. So let's just say that Mr. Reynolds paid down the national debt and bought the Philadelphia Phillies. He would have plenty of money to give to everybody, because he would have a lot of change left. So anyway, after the issue was resolved, PayPal offered to donate an undisclosed amount of money to a charity of Reynolds' choice. So that was cool. I'm sure it wasn't $92 trillion, but how cool is that, though? I mean, you can actually say that you were the first and only quadrillionaire, maybe in the world? Well, yeah, it's got to be the world. No one's that rich. Imagine the interest you earn off of, what is 2 minutes of interest on $92 trillion? You know, if you divide that out, that's just so many zeros, dude. I'm sure certain, software had to be rewritten just to accommodate so many zeros. I see your message. And someone's talking about the train explosion in Nebraska. Have you guys been tracking that? I read something on it earlier this morning because it happened yesterday. I did read something this morning about that train wreck. Forgive me, I'm trying to type and pull something up really quick. Gotta do it on the fly. So I read about it earlier today, but I didn't really plan on talking about it, just because it was kind of a nothing burger. It's not a nothing burger, but it wasn't like that train wreck in Ohio. It's like a big rail yard in Nebraska somewhere. From what I remember, there was an explosion that happened inside of a single rail car. It wasn't like, it was like a ba-boom, like, mushroom cloud or nothing. Let's see, I remember there's no injuries. The train didn't derail. There was just an explosion inside of one of the rail cars. And there was a certain acid that was in one of those rail cars that caught fire. And I remember looking into the MSDS. What the hell was it? Notes. Perchloric acid. It says corrosive to metals, severely corrosive to skin and eyes. So that explains why. I mean, this was in the rail yard when it failed. All right, here we go. All right, it was in the rail yard when it exploded. It's not like it was traveling in the residential areas, and it's still hazardous though. And something tells me. Let me look at it. Yeah, it's perchloric acid is corrosive to metals, and it's severely corrosive to skin and eyes. The fire happened and it was put out relatively quickly, but it smoldered and it began to smoke. And that's the reason. You know, if you're downwind from that, not a good thing. So they cordoned off like a 4-mile radius, 4 miles in every direction. Yeah, that's bad news, man. Yeah, you don't want to be breathing that stuff up. Yeah, there was a fire constant for about 10 or 12 minutes. And when the fire went down and the smoke increased, it began to smolder. And that's when the sparks began coming out, said Greg Robertson. So 2 plumes of smoke rose from the blast site. The east plume was like black smoke. The west plume was orange smoke, something like I've never seen from a fire. So yeah, that's nasty stuff. But the fire's out. The fire and all this crap ended last night. So there's nothing left today. I wouldn't be hiking in that area or harvesting corn in that area. Obviously, there's lots of cornfields there. But yeah, you don't want to be there right now. But I think everything is okay. If you wanted me to comment on that, it just looks like it just looks kind of like a no comment. It's shit happened. They handled their shit, and it's over. Don't breathe deeply. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say. So speaking of other natural disasters, I was going to talk about, that Lahaina fire over in Maui. This is kind of interesting because my shows are every 2 weeks. I kind of lose the immediacy of news. You know, it's not like it happened yesterday. It may have happened last week, but I'm going to talk about it this week. So this has been kind of sleeping for a bit, and I'm kind of happy to see it because. Oprah Winfrey and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson faced a shit ton of backlash on Tuesday after they were asking fans to donate money to help those affected in the Maui wildfires. Despite having a combined net worth of almost $2.8 billion. Between the two of those, they have a combined net worth of $2.8 billion. The Hollywood duo collectively kicked in $10 million to kick off the People's Fund of Maui, which is cool, and $10 million is a shit ton of money to me. That is an enormous amount of money that I'll never see in an entire lifetime. And it's great, and it sounds really awesome. But then they jointly asked their fans on Instagram and TikTok to donate the rest. So they pledged an amount. They put up, well, I think half. And then they're like, okay, everybody, it's your turn now. Many fans complained that they were already living paycheck to paycheck and that the super rich celebrities should dole out more of the money to fund the relief efforts. Summarizing the comments basically breaks down to, quote, y'all's combined net worth is $2.8 billion and you gave $10 million, which is about 0.3%. Do better. I think that if there is like a Red Cross thing going on, yeah, it would be cool to donate to something like that. But you get celebrities up there who are just they don't have to work another day in their life and they'll be fine. Kind of rich celebrities. And this is just, I don't have a lot of trust for these things. This is just, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. I love The Rock. Oprah's cool. She's never done anything against me. I think they're both cool. But dude, read the room. Read the room. Oprah does fucking shows and she gives everyone cars. She can do better. You know, Alex says they never talk about paying the debt down anymore. Really? They ought to. I mean, if it's doubled in the last 10 years. I mean, debt is okay. If you think of the United States as a corporation, you know, debt is okay. To have some leverageable debt, that's fine. But just don't let it get out of control. There's so many unfunded projects in the United States. It's just politicians promising money, but it's unfunded. And I think that's what you got to look at. It's the unfunded things. There's really not a line item. It's just like, hey, if we have some extra change, we're going to shovel some money over into this hole. It's just not. I don't know if is there any country out there, any country that matters as far as leadership goes that doesn't have an outrageous debt. I think every country, carries a lot of debt as a percentage of the GDP. I mean, you gotta. Your country makes money, so you leverage your income to things and stuff. And I don't think there's any country out there, either on the top tier or bottom tier, that doesn't have some kind of debt. There's always something. Everybody, no one's really debt free here as an individual. I think that's fair to say. I mean, I'm doing pretty freaking good, but I still owe money on my car. I still owe money on my house. I'm still helping one of my daughters go through college. So there's debts there. Either debts or promissory notes. I think every country, I don't really care. I don't care what your standing is. I think every country has a debt, whether it's maybe not a monetary value debt, but I think it might be like a promissory, like you do this for me, I'm going to do this for you. It's like it's like a quid pro quo kind of debt. So a bartering, it's like when you barter, you don't necessarily deal in dollars and cents. You deal with service for service, or service for a physical object. So it's been a while since I've done a Florida man story. This is a pretty spectacular Florida man story. I think it's pretty cool. I hope you think it's cool too. So there's this dude. His name is Reza Ray Bellucci. Cool name. He's an endurance runner and he's a peace activist. He tried to cross the Atlantic in a hydropod, which kind of looks similar to a floating hamster ball or a hamster wheel. He's in there inside on the cage, and there's little floaties on the right and the left. So according to the Coast Guard, they rescued him, and then they arrested him for this stunt, and now he's facing federal charges. So according to the criminal complaint, this hydropod in which Bellucci was running was spotted by the Coast Guard on August 27th, about 70 nautical miles off of Tybee Island, which is just east of Savannah, Georgia. Coast Guard 7th District crews terminated this unsafe voyage of Mr. Reza Bellucci and rescued him from his makeshift hydropod. Dicks! Bellucci told the Coasties that his intended destination was London, England, and he became hostile to Coast Guard personnel when they attempted to board the vessel. The United States Coast Guard cutter Valiant continued to make efforts to disembark Bellucci utilizing their small boat. However, Bellucci displayed 2 knives and threatened to hurt himself if officers boarded the vessel. That's why I think he's under arrest, or he was under arrest. You don't do that. I mean, yeah, you want to do things and stuff. Coast Guard says it's illegal or unsafe. Your safe bet is to pay attention to the Coast Guard. He also threatened to blow himself up. Oh, dude, no. You don't do that. Don't threaten to blow yourself up along with the vessel. Did I mention that Bellucci was a peace activist? That's like in his repertoire. He's an endurance runner and a peace activist. He threatened people with knives, and he threatened to blow up his vessel. Let's sit on that for a second. Peace activist. It's like saying, yeah, I'm a vegan, but I love bacon. So anyway, the Coast Guardsman involved deemed the threat credible as Bellucci was holding wires. Ultimately, he reneged and he admitted that it was fabricated. It was a fabricated threat. And it wasn't until 2 days later, on August 29th, that Bellucci was safely removed from his little hamster wheel, hydropod thing. The incident does not mark Bellucci's first. This is not his first time trying to cross the Atlantic in a hamster wheel. According to the criminal complaint, he tried the voyage in 2014, 2016, and in 2021. So he's had 4 attempts at this. Not from Florida to England, but he's tried to go to Bermuda. He's tried to go through, go to several other places. But this was, it was London this time. It was Bermuda last time or whatever. So as a result of the incident, Bellucci has been charged with obstruction of boarding and violation of the captain of a port order. I don't know what that is. I don't have a boat. I don't know what these maritime things are. Bellucci's bond was set at $250,000. I personally think this guy's pretty great. I hope he doesn't get deported. And when I say deported, if you look at his history, he was born in Iran and was a member of the Iranian cycling team. He defected to Germany in 1992 when he arrived in the United States via Mexico in 2002. I think this hamster wheel thing is something that I would be interested in seeing. And I think other people would as well. I'm sure that he is, if he upped his safety game, like if he didn't do this solo, if he had like a support boat nearby or a support ship nearby, just in case things went sideways, he could sell sponsorships. He could sell like video feeds, to get him to go to London or go from in his hamster wheel from wherever in Florida to frickin' Bermuda or whatever. To raise money for peace, whatever peace activist, whatever his organization is. I think he's just got to do it the right way. I wonder if he has family here. I'd watch it. I'd be interested in that. I'd follow that. I don't know. So what are you guys doing this weekend? Anything super exciting? This is let's see. This is the let's see. We're after Labor Day, so it's like we're in that lull between Labor Day and Thanksgiving. Anybody got any big things going on? I ain't got shit, man. I actually canceled. I got so many things wrong with my house that I got to fix. I've canceled my Christmas travels, and I'm not going to see my kids this year. I'll have to aim for the spring on that. Man, I got a lot of Dara. I did have my final, I guess it was my post adjustment elevation something. The people who fixed my foundation had a independent engineer, structural engineer, came out, and they had all the data that the structural repair people did, and he came out and he certified it. So it was kind of like, it's just their work was inspected, and the guy showed up. He did a bunch of measurements, and he's like, "Man, these guys did a good job. Whatever money you spent on that, you did a good job." So I'm happy. I am happy. Now I just got to get my not septic, but I have when they lifted my house 4.2 inches on the backside. So I have this very narrow, very long house. The backside of it sunk 4.2 inches, and that was causing doors not to be able to close, and so on and so forth. So they lifted it 4.2, and that caused a bunch of it caused a slab leak or some sewage issues. My supply line going to the house is fine, but the sewage going out, there's a crack, so it's not holding. So I've got to get that fixed, and that's going to happen. It takes 3 appointments to get that. 3 appointments. It takes three significant things to get that fixed. They need to put in a new clean out. It's called a dual clean out. I've only got a single on my house. Then they need to diagnose the problem, and then they need to fix the problem. So there's 3 appointments that still need to happen. So I'm probably still on the hook for another, I don't know, I'm thinking $5,000 or less. I'm crossing my fingers, $5,000 or less. But after that's done, man, then that makes my house pretty solid. So it's cheaper to keep her, man. everyone I talked to, even my parents were like, just sell it. Just sell your house. I'm like, no. You know, with the way that things are right now, man, I can't sell it because won't be able to make my money back. I'll be able to make my money back, but I'll have to spend it on another house that I'll have to pay too much on and get an interest rate that's way too high. I mean, interest rate right now is 5%. I'm at 2%. So I'm going to play my cards as they're laid. I think I'm doing good. I've already picked out new living room furniture and a still shopping for a nice flat screen. I'm going to rearrange my living room. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And I'm going to stay here for a while, and I think it's going to be great. So normally, right now is the time that we are going to take a break. But I'm going to do something different. I think I'm going to end the show, man. I don't have anybody to bounce anything off of. So I think we're just going to call it. But please tune in on Sunday on the Sports Bar. Monday for the Monday edition. Pop Culture Warrior is on Tuesday. Smoke Pit's coming on Wednesday. Sergeant's Time's on Thursday. And then every other Friday, because of my work schedule, I can only do every other Friday shows. We'll be here every other Friday. Hopefully Pookie will be back. And I hope everyone does great, man. Just have a great weekend. And let's watch some football this weekend. Football season is kicking up. Let me see. We got Cowboys are going to be playing the Jets. The Jets used to be, I think, the Cowboys used to be a 3-point favorite, 3.5-point favorite over the Jets. And now that Rodgers got hurt, it's now like a 6 or 6.5 favorite. I don't know, dude. I think at any time the wheels can fall off on the Dallas Cowboys. I love the Cowboys. They're my team. I'll always root for the Cowboys, but I know what to expect. So, I don't know. I hope everybody does good and their teams win, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Kaz, and I really hope that I see you next time, man. Take care. Bye.
My friend came to the door. She said, well, I was on the phone cooking me and my baby some breakfast. And she said, hey, something wrong. It's popping. I said, what?
Hey, there's Ethelyn's address
said,
again.
no.
Mark it down.
So the girl come down.
If you guys need it.
She come out her apartment with her baby with no shoes on. I said, oh, girl, it's cold outside. She said, something ain't right. I said, oh, man. She said, oh, man, the building is on fire. I said, no, what? I got my 3 kids and we bounced out. We ain't gonna be in no fire, not today.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio. This is WTF Nation Radio.